sort of giving it that old.
Come on.
What's that all about? The guy. Okay, he's not the most exciting watch in the world.
Well, there you go. You just said it.
But he does.
We're here listening to Adrian Clark, former Arsenal midfielder, talk to Alan Brazil on Talksport about the signing of Jorginho and trying to help get Arsenal over the line to win the Premier League. Take a listen.
His job better than almost anybody else in European football. He was third in the Ballon d'Or 50.
Look at the shock. Look at the shock on Brazil's face there. Look at the cognitive dissonance. Look at it.
15 months ago.
Hold on. How have Chelsea been doing lately?
Oh, that old chestnut. That old chestnut. I'm just going to let Adrian Clark deal with it.
Not very well. Not very well at all. I don't think he can pin
He's
that.
He's that good.
What's silly about that logic is look how good Granit Xhaka's now doing in a competent, well-performing, well-oiled Arsenal machine compared to previous years. Chelsea being in trouble isn't because Jorginho is over the hill, past it, or finished. It's a changing of the guard, a different system, a manager that doesn't necessarily want him in the medium to long term, a player who has filled his boots at Chelsea and wants a new challenge. That is all this is.
I don't think you can pin this season's sort of misery from Chelsea on Jorginho. Look, I think he'll fit in very
Does
nicely.
he know where north is? He goes east and west all the time.
So he's talking there about, does Jorginho know how to pass forward? Now, what amazes me about this, you see it all the time. On Talksport the other day, they said Anthony's got to be more like Rashford and cross the ball more. When in fact, Anthony more than doubles Rashford for attempted crosses and balls into the box per game in the Premier League. But let's take a listen.
You know what? A lot of people have been saying this, so I looked it up. I've got a little.
You better not. You better.
He's done him. He's done him.
Western
Where
Super.
the stars.
Come on,
Yeah,
Adrian.
Lord.
Bury him, Adrian. Bury him.
Bury him.
Right, here we go. Right, Thomas Partey.
You've had a Western.
He's having a sensational season. He's a brilliant player.
Whoa. What do you mean sensational season? He's been very good. What do you mean sensational?
See, this is what happens. This is what happens. You can see the anger that people have towards Arsenal doing well. And I keep calling this out. And I know some of you in the comments are sticking up for Arsenal again. It's not about sticking up for Arsenal. I want professional pundits to give not just fair analysis, but accurate analysis. They are paid big bucks to educate the masses about football. And he's lying because on average, including this season, Jorginho passes the ball forward more than Thomas Partey does. These be the facts, and everybody wants to ignore facts. The eye test fails you when you've got an agenda. Your agenda will always ruin your eye test because you become subjective and angry and you don't look at the facts. Now, let's take a little look here at a journalist calling out Arteta today about having no excuses towards winning the Premier League. Take a look at this.
Excuses if you don't win the title from the position you're in, the players you've got in, the squad you know.
You see the laugh there from Arteta. He's like, oh, that old chestnut.
If you want to put it that way, it's fine.
How would you put it?
Excuses?
Yeah, so I mean, I think every team who's been on 50 points at this stage of the season has gone on to win the league. So
no, what we have to do is train really well tomorrow and win, and play well to win. That's the only thing we can do. Because
see, the journalist here has tried to call Arteta out, and it's almost trying to make Arteta talk, I don't know, about VAR, to talk about like refs having a bias towards other clubs. I don't know what. I don't quite know what he's angling for here. Arsenal fans are pretty universal on this. There are no excuses for not winning the league. The only reason would be we weren't good enough. You could argue that if the players they bought in January don't take them to the next level, which many think they will, that's a reason. It isn't an excuse. The reason may be we didn't strengthen them well enough. The reason may be City blew us away in the end. The reason may be we didn't have the staying power. But of course, there are no excuses for Arsenal.
we cannot play every play that we have in the squad team. We have to pick 11 and then the substitutes. So
yeah, and he's absolutely right. And I think Arteta answered it very, very well, played it down, and sort of didn't allow himself to kind of be not scapegoated, but didn't allow himself to kind of bite back at the journalist there. Now, I want to take a look here. People always call me out saying you never find positive clips about Arsenal. Here's one.
I can't see them not winning it. I really can't. It's not like they're a team that are top and you think, well, they'll blow up. You know, we had that feeling with Leicester, perhaps, you know, who did fantastic the year they won it, but we kept thinking, well, they can't win it really.
Tottenham went to Chelsea, the Battle of the Bridge. Remember that last game?
But you look at this team, this Arsenal team. It's a fantastically well balanced team, great players. They just look the real deal. I can't see.
And that is an ex-Tottenham manager being objective about the situation. He's not allowing his loyalty as a manager to cloud his punditry. That is what professional pundits, ex-pros should be doing. We know when they're capping. We know when they're BSing because we've seen them be professional. We've now seen them try to become content creators, and it doesn't wash with a lot of us. Leave the content creating to fans, and you as professional pundits and journalists and ex-pros, tell us what's really going on. Tell us what's really going on.
Say nothing.
You're one of the early ones today. So
Jurgen Klopp here being interviewed and asked about Chelsea spending. Please take a listen to this.
I don't know as yet.
Okay, then I say nothing without my lawyer. No.
People act like Klopp's joking, but you can tell he's seething with anger right now.
A joke. No. Yeah, obviously I don't know. I don't understand this part of the business. Like, what can you do? What can you not do? How much? It's a big number. In the last 2 windows, obviously. Okay, I can. The players they brought in, I didn't think.
What's he looking at? What's Klopp looking at?
Once. Why did I do that? They're all good players, really good players. So from that point of view, congratulations. When you can do it, then obviously they do it. But I don't understand it. But how it's possible with all the...
See, that is it there. Listen to that. How is it possible? Now, I tweeted about this earlier on today, and of course, Liverpool fans rushed to his defense. He doesn't understand football finance like you, Terry. He's not an accountant. He's not the sporting director who deals with this. He's just the manager. How would Jurgen Klopp understand how they could do it? Because Jurgen Klopp knows that net spend doesn't exist. Jurgen Klopp understands completely how transfers are paid for. He knows about amortization. In fact, he and Liverpool celebrated the way in which they did the Thiago deal. That they spread that over the 4 to 5 years of his contract, and it ended up costing him about £2.5–3 million a year, and it was celebrated as a piece of genius, innovative, groundbreaking, almost at the same level as human beings discovering fire, breakthrough in football finance. Jurgen Klopp is an intelligent, educated, experienced man. What you've just seen from him there is pure, unadulterated bitterness, sour, saltiness. That is what that is there. That is him being jealous. That is him hating the fact that Chelsea can spend, but loving the idea of being able to do it himself. That is what generates jealousy. And Liverpool fans will say, oh, I was laughing before. He didn't mean it. It was a joke. And Terry truly doesn't understand how it works. You're telling me the manager of one of the biggest football clubs in the world, who's been directly involved with some of the greatest transfers of the last half decade, has no idea about the makeup of transfers, how the salaries are paid, how bonuses are paid, how wage structures are put together, and what amortization is. Come on now. Stop capping. This is pure Chelsea hate 101. It absolutely is.
Let's go! Come on! The level of spend. I don't like it any more than I like the observations that I've made about other football clubs, whether that's Manchester City or whether it will be Newcastle in the future. I don't change my view. I think it's a remarkable level of spend. I also think the argument that rages and will continue to rage, and I think it's a fair argument, is have Chelsea overpaid for players? Did they?
That's a fair question to ask around Chelsea. Have they overpaid? We don't know. Like, we will not know whether they have overpaid until 2 or 3 years down the line. So you can make a prediction. Simon Jordan can say, I think they've overpaid. Joe Bloggs might say, I think they've paid the going rate. Let's see how those players perform. What you're going to probably find is there's going to end up being a balance. There'll be certain players that have come in for 15, 20 million who end up being 80, 90 million pound players. And there may be a few that have come in for the 50, 60, 70 mark who end up not quite living up to the expectations that fans put upon them. But when you look at the Enzo Fernandez deal, you may argue and say, well, he's only had half a year at Benfica. Why is he worth so much money? Well, this was the best young player at the World Cup, a man that has been instrumental in a brilliant Champions League campaign so far for Benfica. Go back and look at Wayne Rooney. Go back and look at Wayne Rooney's career as an example. Now, this year's been a little bit different because the World Cup was in the middle of the season as opposed to at the end of it. If you look at Wayne Rooney, he made, and I want to just go and check this while I'm talking because I think I know what I'm talking about, and then I might get there and get it wrong because you're talking nearly 20 years ago. He had 2 seasons, in fairness to him. He had 2 seasons at Everton, and he was playing well. And the second year, he really started to set the world alight. Broke into the England squad, went to the Euros, was one of the best young players there, and then Man United parted with 30 million. If you look at the inflation within football between 2004 and 2023, Wayne Rooney's deal about around 450 to 500% inflation in that time within the world of football, especially the Premier League. That equates to a nearly 150 million pound deal. So to act like some of the best young players in the world who have destroyed international tournaments are not worth that kind of money is disingenuous. Again, what the mainstream media does, it ignores the inflation within football and tries to conflate a price in 2023 versus a price 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when the money in the game was very, very different. And that, for me, is the key component here. The price we pay for players will continue to rise as long as the game of football in England continues to grow financially. If the TV rights deals in a decade are worth double what they are now, the best young footballers in the world are going to be getting sold for 180 to 250 million pounds. That isn't because they're any better than the superstar wonder kids of 20, 30 years from wherever they're bought backwards. It just means there's more money in the game and the inflation is there. Inflation in football grows at a far greater rate than inflation of the general populace. And unless we're educated on that, we won't understand it. But of course, a lot of this is shrouded again in jealousy towards Chelsea and an annoyance to the way that they're behaving and the way that they're acting and the way that they're moving forward. For me, it's laughable. For me, I think that Chelsea fans need to stay resolute in this. And again, I'm not going to stand there as a football fan and watch bad punditry and disingenuous comments go unchecked. Because all you should be saying about Chelsea right now, there is potential criticism of, have they got the right people running the club? Is the long-term plan going to work? How could this fail? And it could fail if these players are not good enough, if they keep chopping and changing managers. But the idea that they've spent too much money or they've bought the wrong players or players now cost too much and Chelsea are ruining the transfer market, for me it's a conspiracy theory. It truly is. Listen, I want everyone's thoughts and I want everybody's feelings. Smash the like and the share buttons and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.